Let me floof my hair. Floofing.
Floof. Alright.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Becker Answers. We know you can't wait for this next installment, so here we are with it.
Well, very interesting question, and I will tell you what the question was and then we'll broaden it out.
Oh, okay.
So a very cool, young, promising magician.
He's really rad.
He's very rad.
You said he's so cool.
He's hip.
It made us sound old.
And we are. Guess what?
You're like very cool, young,
Yeah.
hip magician.
Jeremy Michelson, who is, I think he's going to be a big star in magic.
Yes, he will.
Yep. And he
is rad, I have to admit.
He is pretty rad.
Totally rad.
He's going to have to look up what that might mean.
I know.
Because he's young.
Lit. Is lit even a thing anymore?
I don't know. Lit came and
know.
went, and I know you rebelled. You didn't like lit.
No, lit had a negative connotation in my mind when the kids started saying that.
And
but I don't know what the new term is for like super cool.
I don't know. We have teenagers. We
Hip and trendy.
should actually ask them about that.
Anyway, Jeremy, we think you're awesome. So.
Yes.
Okay.
So Jeremy asked, he asked about our hashtag, the Fred Becker seat.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've seen us, if you're part of our Facebook world, then you may have seen that.
An entire year or more of Fred and occasionally my feet as well.
Yes.
In airplane seats.
In airplane seats. So I thought it might be fun to talk about this because it is an example of something that might be called unintentional branding.
Or accidental branding.
Or accidental branding.
Both meaning
Which,
unintentional.
define that real quick so that people know what we're talking about.
Essentially, it's when, you...
Oh, having said that, we struggle to brand ourselves, particularly as performers or...
One of the things that you do when you're taking, marketing classes or you're learning about, how to market Becker Magic, for example, is that you want to have something that is associated with you so that people always see, your logo, your color scheme, your font, everything that you do, your full package is sort of branded so that people always know, okay, that's Becker Magic. They could see a post, a picture, and they know that's us.
Right.
Okay, same with my makeup business. I use the similar...
And what is your makeup business?
MagicGalMakeup.com.
Really?
And I use similar, I have a logo and I have MagicGalMakeup.com. I have a website, but I keep the same colors with branding and try to keep all of that so that anytime a photograph is used or a post that I make, it has a similar look and feel. So most businesses try to do this. Work pretty hard at this. So intentionally. But there is something called accidental branding that you may not intend to have happen. For example, the Fred Becker seat. But I was going to say, for example, during quarantine, Fred and I have been barbecuing a lot on our back deck, and so perhaps people might start, sending us pictures of barbecues, of their own barbecue. We've also occasionally had a martini or two.
Are you talking specifically about
saying that there might be people who drink martinis? So then when others are out and about, if they see something cute that has to do with martinis, it might get sent to that person who's barbecuing and also drinking martinis.
Right.
This is a thing that I have friends who love to drink wine. When I'm out, my mind, I see something cute that has to do with wine, I send it to my friends. That they are accidentally or unintentionally branding.
Right, yes. And that happened to us kind of in a fun way. So just to tell the story, if you've never heard it before, it started this way. I have all my height in my legs. I have very long legs.
And I don't. I have short legs.
In fact, Bobbie's sitting in a chair much lower than me right now, just so that it kind of approximates.
We don't look like Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise.
Yes, right.
Technically, he's taller than me, but when we sit, I'm taller usually.
Because her length is in my
torso.
So when we fly a lot for our job, typically
we used to.
And it was difficult on me because my knees are pressed up against the seat in front of me, and it's really uncomfortable if you have to sit there for a while.
You're a really nice person, and you always give me the window seat, so that sometimes means on a crowded flight you're in the aisle. I'm
smushed in every direction.
And I like to sort of tuck into a seat, like up against the window, pull my knees up and all that, and I don't need the leg room. But Fred, so we started to make a compromise. I'm like, well, if you're going to give me the window seat, then we'll go into an aisle that has the extra legroom.
Right.
And we'll go hopefully to the exit rows.
And it turns out that there are some airplanes out there, which I think is the 321.
I don't actually know, but there are a couple out there.
The Airbus, the A321, has a row of seats in the exit row that there's no seat in front of it all.
So there's like 3, and then in front of it there's like 2.
Only 2.
But there's nobody in front of this seat. So if you sit in this one, you've got all that legroom.
I've got 10 feet of legroom, which is just about right for me.
Yeah.
So one day, I don't think we intended to sit there.
Well, I don't
pick
know.
Our
It's
seats,
irrelevant. The point is you
I
excited.
took a picture and posted it on Facebook. I'm like, look at all the legroom. This is important to me. And the very next flight, I think we flew somewhere, I got in that seat, and flying home from the job, got the same seat again.
Exactly.
Right? So I took another picture and said, wow, how lucky am I to have this 2 times in a row. And our friend, also a magician, Matthew Stanley, hashtagged it. He said, Fred Becker seat.
You just called him Matthew.
Matthew.
Matt, do you go by Matthew?
I think he likes Matthew.
Does he?
He's
Matthew?
got, well,
it's very distinguished.
he was going by 3 names,
Oh, yeah.
Matthew David Stanley. And I was like, we need to chip in and get him a real last name.
Really
Those are 3 first names.
So yeah, Matt, did he say, look, I got the Fred Becker seat?
Yeah, I think
Something
maybe
like
he took a picture. He got the same seat and he goes, look, I'm in the Fred Becker seat. And it started this little...
It kind of took on a life of its own. So then Fred was like, haha, that's funny. And then the next time he had it, he's like, I got the Fred Becker seat again. And all it took, really, it shows the power of marketing.
And
was
social media.
Probably 4 or 5 times of this happening, where before long, everyone we knew was taking pictures of their feet saying, I got the Fred Becker seat, on planes. And then it began to be even funnier where people were taking pictures of themselves in the airplane bathroom, saying not quite the Fred Becker seat,
Right.
Or all these we were just seeing some really funny stuff. One of our friends, Jeff, actually photoshopped our logo in the window, and was like, oh, this is the Fred Becker seat.
Reserved for.
And it basically took on a life of its own.
Yeah, so it was really fun and kind of flattering in a way that people played along.
Although people kept messing up the hashtag because they were good-hearted trying it, but we were like, it's the Fred Becker seat. But we would get all these different hashtags, and then they would just hashtag it, but they didn't tag you, so you didn't know. Sometimes I'd be scrolling and be like, oh, here's one, but you're not tagged in it. But before long, your entire Facebook was
my feet.
Your feet
my friends'
and
feet.
all of our friends' feet. Everyone.
Which, as cool as that was, I mean, it was really fun, and I got a big kick out of it.
It was hilarious.
And I love all of you that participated. In some ways, though, when you brand yourself for something, you kind of want it to be useful. Nobody was hiring me to do my show because my feet were on an airplane.
Yeah, it was just a fun thing for a while. But at some point, Fred's like, okay, I need to retire the hashtag. We need to put it to bed. And I think you did it, and that is why 2020 has been insane. It's all your fault. Because you retired the hashtag.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure no more airplane rides. So.
Apparently, he was like, I'm putting this to bed. And then, like, on New Year's Eve, we had one more flight into 2020 that you did it again. And I said, I thought you were retiring that.
Yeah, it felt good to revisit it.
You were like, I just need to revisit it again. I was like, oh no, here.
But actually, I think there's a cautionary tale here. Like, you could be unintentionally or accidentally branded as something that you wouldn't want to be associated with.
Yeah.
I was fine with the feet thing. I'm not saying that, but it's...
Well, and if like my joke earlier, I mean, we have been barbecuing a lot. We do not actually have martinis every single night. But there for a while, it might have looked like we did. Because the only time we were posting was when we were having a nice fancy meal with our martini next to it.
Well, and I don't know that Lance and Jonathan know that we had a little secret competition.
Well, yes, you talked about it in another one of our answers.
They always have the most beautiful, cover of a magazine pictures of their dinners and things like that they make themselves. It's not like they go out to dinner. And so...
And they've always got some sort of fun beverage to go with it, whether it's wine or, something fun.
And I'm a little envious of all that. So we secretly would be, look, we're being...
We did ours too.
We did ours too.
Pork and beans and hot dogs with our... No.
Yeah, they had foie gras, and
Yeah,
we've
they're
got
like, well,
hot dogs.
I think they're really good cooks too. That's the thing.
Yes.
So, or Jonathan, I know, is a good cook. So, but anyway, that's just our friends that we sort of have this like, oh, let's pose like Lance and Jonathan. But the point is, if you're not also posting other content on social media, then that can become
It
the
becomes
accidental.
your brand, yeah.
And you don't want people. You need to make sure that the message you're putting out there is one you want people to think about you.
Right, right. So yeah, I think it's thank you, Jeremy, for the question, because I like all that marketing stuff. I find that branding and just getting your word out is fascinating. I love the sort of intellectual side of it. So thanks for asking, so we could talk about it. And please,
if you want it to look like unintentional branding, you can start your own intentional branding that just looks unintentional.
right, that's
Yeah.
the best kind.
Yeah.
There's a difference between publicity and advertising. Advertising you have to pay for, and publicity is something that happens about you that you don't have to pay for, and it
Yeah.
seems have more authority.
All I know is I wish there was more Fred Becker seat posts and things like that in 2020, because
Yeah.
social media is not overly enjoyable. So I'll repeat my message to the masses. Keep your posts positive and happy so that we can put goodness into the world instead of negativity, because Lord knows we've got enough of that this year.
Hashtag Bobbie says, make it positive.
Yeah. It's not always easy, but
Well, please ask us some more questions so we can put together some more Becker Answers and have some more fun with you. We do appreciate everybody that watches, and we're still having fun while we're out of work.
we'd like to be working, but we're still trying to have fun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So we can talk about that. Ask us a pointed question about unemployment as an entertainer.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Let's not. That does not sound like fun.
No?
No.
Okay. Hashtag keep it positive.
Hashtag let's go barbecue.